Now trial number 4 is what I'm going to move on to now because my hot plate is warming up, and so I want to go ahead and continue to be judicious with my time. Trial number 4 is going to require that I use a beaker. Remember, a glass beaker in particular. If you remember trials 1 and 2, I used the glass beaker to make my copper hydroxide solution. I'm going to use one of those glass beakers that has been thoroughly rinsed out with both tap water and deionized water. The first thing that I'm going to add to this beaker is glucose. So I've added a sugar. Oh, there's my beeping hot plate, meaning it's hot. I can actually hover my hand over it and it's certainly hot there. So I've got glucose in here. The next thing that I'm going to add is 25 milliliters of copper sulfate. I've added my copper sulfate, and you know, if you compare, just a second, here's the copper sulfate stock solution that has nothing in it. It's just copper and sulfate ions floating around. And here's the solution with glucose. It really doesn't look that different. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add 25 milliliters of sodium hydroxide. Here's my 25 milliliters of sodium hydroxide. I'm gonna add it to this. Okay, so does that look radically different from what we've seen previously? I mean, I see some white powder for my glucose, but other than that, it really doesn't look that different. So what I'm gonna do with this, and what I'm gonna do with this is my copper hydroxide that I made without glucose. 25 mils sodium hydroxide, 25 mils copper sulfate. 25 mils copper sulfate, 25 mils sodium hydroxide, plus 1.2 grams of glucose. I'm gonna put both of these on the hot plate and see what happens.